September 15th, 2008. It's a nice day outside. Nature is calm, and Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. Today's a beginning of a financial crisis. The 2008 financial crisis caused the recession, since banks did some dumb financial stuff. Worldwide recession means less spending and less tourism for Greece. Since tourism was around 20% of the GDP, less tourism makes their deficit higher. Then in October of 2009, Greece's deficit estimate was revised from 3.5% to 12.5% for 2009. Investors were finally realizing that Greece couldn't pay their debt. Greece's bond yield went from 5% to 10% in early 2010. That means future debt will cost more, which makes it less likely for them to pay back their debt. It's a cycle that will get worse, unless they get a bailout from the EU. The EU had to bail Greece out. If they didn't, it will make the euro weaker because the restrictions making a country go bankrupt reduces confidence in the euro. And also because a few of the European countries lent money to Greece. But why would Greece need a bailout from the EU? Because they couldn't devalue their currency since they were using the euro. The thing Greece worked so hard to adopt as its currency is now a curse that prevents them from getting out of this situation. So they needed the EU's help. As the EU, would you A. do nothing, B. make Greece give extreme austerity measures, or C. make Greece focus on getting its citizens to pay taxes? That's right, they did B. Okay, they did a bit of C, but they mostly did B. In exchange for a 110 billion euro loan, Greece needed to do extreme austerity measures. The austerity measures in a nutshell were cutting 2/3 of public sector jobs, cutting wages, pensions, and raising the retirement age from 60 to 65. There was an increase in taxes for goods and companies. Let's see how the Greeks handle these changes. Yep, that makes sense. People protested and rioted over this, since no one wants to be fired. But they were kind of forced to, since the alternative was going bankrupt. The austerity measures were so drastic and done very quickly that Greeks logically didn't want to spend money. If Greeks don't want to spend money, that means less GDP, and less taxes. Taxes, the main reason why Greece is in debt, they couldn't get taxes. And their reckless spending too. Plus, the lower debt to GDP makes their debt look even worse. So the EU needed to bail them out again. Good job, EU. I'm sure your plan won't be the exact same as last time. Really? Greece, knowing that these measures could be a bad idea, asked the population if they should do these measures by a referendum. Stupid Greece, don't you know that you bow to your overlords, the European Union? For this disrespect! Germany and France said if the referendum doesn't agree to the austerity measures, they would withhold a 6 billion euro loan, which Greece needed by the end of December 2012. Greece canceled the referendum. While I'm being critical of the EU for their response, they did negotiate a 50% reduction of Greek bonds for private bondholders. Germany pushed them to reduce the value of their bonds by 50%. They still made Greece do austerity measures, but let's see if it works this time. Nope, it didn't. These measures increased unemployment and poverty among Greeks. This brought up the possibility of Grexit, probably because they felt like the EU's austerity measures were made out of fairness. Oh well, I'm sure that won't influence future events. Due to increased unemployment and poverty, people will go for other parties, since clearly the normal parties weren't working. And that's how Syriza came to power. They won in 2015, and they promised that they would basically not follow the austerity measures. They also defaulted on a loan payment, which made it look like they wouldn't follow the austerity measures. So they did a referendum that asked, should we do austerity measures? And 60% of the Greeks said no. They accepted the austerity measures since they needed the 86 billion euro loan from the EU. They couldn't pay off the debt on their own. And that defaulted loan, they ended up paying that back 3 weeks later. Let's see if the Greeks are used to more austerity measures. They weren't. Was there a fourth bailout? Nope, because Greece got better at collecting taxes. How? Well, they encouraged Greeks to use credit and debit cards by paying less taxes for the value-added tax payments. They couldn't figure this out earlier somehow. It took them this long to use credit and debit cards? Are they stupid? I see. And to get the merchants to cooperate, they would pay a fee if they didn't let customers use credit or debit cards. The country is out of the crisis since they can kind of pay off their debt. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's recovering. So that's the Greek financial crisis. Let's hope other governments will try to lower their debts. Fund the subscribe button.